another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Karen, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the August 6, 2026 issue of the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, our first article is titled Holland School Board Seeks Applicants Following Resignation. The Holland Central School District is seeking applicants to fill a vacancy on the school board after board member Tom Olszewski resigned following the May election. Superintendent Kathy Fabados and Olszewski resigned effective June 30th after deciding to move back to Texas. The resignation came shortly after voters elected Rick Hope to one of two open board seats in May. Because no second candidate appeared on the ballot, the district turned to write-in votes to fill the remaining seat. Brian Jones received the most write-in votes and accepted the one-year appointment. There were a lot of write-ins, Fabiottos said. Brian Jones had the most votes, so he accepted. He's going to serve the one-year term. With Olszewski's departure, the board began advertising the latest vacancy on the district's website and social media, asking interested residents to apply by August 7th. As of this week, no applications have been received. If we have to, we'll extend it, Fabiatos said. She said the board chose to publicly solicit applicants rather than immediately appoint someone. Fabiatos expects the application period will likely be extended another month, citing this is a busy time of year for potential candidates. We can't leave it open indefinitely, she said. Whoever is appointed will serve until the next school board election in May 2027, when voters will elect someone to complete the remainder of Olszewski's term. Jones, despite earning the seat through write-in votes, also must seek election next spring if he wishes to remain on the board. Holland school board members currently serve 5-year terms. Fabiatos said district leaders have discussed whether to reduce either the length of board terms or the size of the 7-member board, but noted residents previously rejected reducing the number of board members. People felt that 7 members was better representation of the community. She acknowledged recruiting candidates has become increasingly difficult. In this day and age, people don't stay at the same job for 5 years anymore, Fabiatos said. We're not the only school district that's had difficulty with this in the last few years. Interested candidates can email hollandboe@hollandcsd.org. All candidates must be at least 18 years old, a qualified voter of the school district, a district member, a district resident for the last 12 months, and must be able to read and write. Board candidates cannot be a current employee of Holland Central School District, live in the same household with a family member on the Holland School Board, or be an employee of the school board. Elm Street Retail Project tabled by Village Zoning Board. Financial hardship documents requested prior to decision. Plans for a new 4,400 square foot retail space on Elm Street are going to be reevaluated following requests for financial hardship documentation by the Village of East Aurora Zoning Board of Appeals. The Zoning Board will meet on August 13th to discuss the project again. The 2-story retail space called The Mercantile is proposed to be erected in a space currently occupied by the Little Red Caboose. The project appeared before the Zoning Board of Appeals on July 9th with a request for a use variance to construct the building in the neighborhood commercial district, as well as area variances for a side yard setback and the projection into a yard. Roger Andrews, the applicant, does not own the property at this time, but is the prospective owner provided the project is approved. The property also includes the former Niagara Lumber Building. A series of area variances were granted to that building earlier this year. According to Assistant Code Enforcement Officer Rich Miga, those variances were granted to the right of the applicant, and he does not need to relinquish any of them. Andrews said that his initial plan was to renovate the existing building on the property into a retail space, but was denied financing by the Small Business Association, SBA. Andrews said that he was told the SBA had been burnt by the rehabilitation of older buildings where loan applicants did not do what was presented in their loan applications. Andrews said he went back to the SBA with a revised plan for a new retail space and to rehabilitate the former building for storage. Attorney for applicant Pete Sorge, who represented a previous applicant to develop the property, stated that the project fell through because of financing. He also stated that he has walked through with other developers who walked away from the project because of the costs. To do an adaptive reuse of that building, it would be cost prohibitive, Sorge said. Andrews said that the former Niagara Lumber Building is structurally sound, but the prospective costs of interior renovations to the building led to the denial of the SBA loan. It's not just construction, it's getting up to speed with the building code, Sorge said. Andrews said that of the 4 sprinkler companies he has worked with in other commercial buildings he has worked on would not even quote him on the cost of installing a sprinkler system in the old building. Sorge said that a part of the overall plan was to demolish the metal bump out on the left side of the building, but keep its main concrete footprint. This would include beautifying the area and painting the building. The building would then be used for storage, which does not have the same constrictions. The building's use as storage would be considered a non-residential accessory structure for the property. You're basically saying the only way to rehabilitate that building is to grant the use variance, acting chairman of the zoning board Tony Hoffman said. Sorge said that any of the permitted uses under the code would require the significant construction costs and code updates. Sorge stated he believed the hardship is unique to the property, which spans a depth ranging from 42 feet at Oakwood Avenue to 72 feet at the property line. He also stated that he did not believe the hardship was self-created when taking into account the nature of the existing building. We tried to develop it without getting this use variance and it fell through, Sorge said. Zoning board member Tony Rosati asked the applicant to submit documentation regarding the SBA's denial of the loan. Sorge also questioned the code's provision for a use variance for this project. According to Village Code, retail stores or personal service establishments are permitted as of right in the district, provided that use occupies an existing building footprint of no more than 5,000 square feet. The way that I read that basically means you cannot build a new building in that zoning district unless it's 1 or 2 or 3 uses that don't have that footprint, Sorge said. There's a wonderful irony here that we could have a cannabis retail dispensary because it doesn't have a footnote next to it. Zoning board member Gary Kimmel-Hurd said that he believed the intent was to maintain the character of the newly created zoning districts. The Zoning Board of Appeals will meet again at 6 p.m. Thursday, August 13th, in the Aurora Municipal Building on Oakwood Avenue. Okay, next we have Aurora Board approves campground seasonal cottages on Big Tree Road. After months of discussion and meetings, the Aurora Town Board has approved both the special use permit and site plan for Carner Development Group to operate a campground at 1196 Big Tree Road. The permits were approved at the July 27th meeting, with Councilmember Ben Garvey abstaining from all discussions and voting due to a conflict of interest. The property, known as Twin Elms Estate, is over 80 acres and includes a Georgian mansion and additional existing buildings, one of which is the site of Cardia Health Integrative. There is a 69-acre conservation easement on the property that would be utilized passively with walking trails. The project will allow Carner Development Group to operate a campground and construct seasonal cottages, tree houses, a lodge, and convert the existing residences into sleeping rooms and an administration building. The project also proposes the continuation of the Wellness Center and a 1,200 square foot open-air lodge to be constructed, which would be for approximately 70 people and can only be used by guests staying at the campground and their invitees. Carner Development already operates 3 campgrounds in the Finger Lakes area. The project was recommended by the Planning Board in May. This has not been a smooth road getting to this point, Supervisor Charles Snyder said. I do feel that where we are now is probably the best place we can possibly be for everyone, and I am confident the project will work out for the best. Several area residents have publicly voiced their opposition to the project, citing concerns over traffic, transient guests, noise, and light pollution. Area resident Jeff Harris spoke out prior to the project's approval during the public comments section of the meeting. It's an extremely residential area, Harris said. Harris said he was also speaking for a neighboring resident, Joe Quinn, who has been publicly outspoken against the project but was not at the meeting. Harris said that traffic is already an issue in the area. With the possibility of events being held at the campground, he believed it would be worse. I think you're going to have a problem, Harris said. Harris said he does not believe the sleeping quarters in the mansion constitute camping. My feeling is you don't camp in cabins either. You camp in camping trailers, Harris said. I really think that's what the code was meant for. Valerie Davis, a town resident who does not live in the area, said that she does not believe that the project is a fit for the town. It's just another thing for rich people to come and make more traffic and stuff, Davis said. The town board put several conditions on the site plan and special use permit before passing it. Pursuant to town code, the board found that 30 parking spaces are sufficient. However, if in the future cause is shown, the town may require up to 21 additional parking spaces to be constructed. No outdoor wood fires of any kind are permitted, but propane and similar fire pits are allowed. No outdoor amplified music or similar volume of man-made sounds is allowed between the hours of 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. A caretaker or responsible person will be present at all times when the campground is in operation. The maximum number of people attending any event shall be no more than 100 people. All events are to be private with only invitees attending, meaning events that are not open to the general public. Attorney for the applicant, Pete Sorge, was present during the meeting but did not speak during the discussion. The Aurora Town Board will meet again at 7 p.m. Monday, August 10th at the Aurora Municipal Center on Oakwood Avenue. And you are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Next, we have Heart of Music Festival donates $23,500 to 6 local organizations. The Heart of Music Festival continued its tradition of giving back to the community by donating $23,500 in proceeds from this year's festival to 6 local nonprofit organizations and community groups. Festival organizers presented donation checks during a ceremony last Wednesday at the Classic Rink on Riley Street, recognizing organizations that provide services in youth development, health and wellness, recreation, education, and wildlife conservation. The Heart of Music Festival is about more than great entertainment. It's about bringing people together to make a positive difference, said Chris Welch, president of the Heart of Music Festival Board. We're grateful to everyone that attended, volunteered, sponsored, and supported the festival. Because of our community's generosity, we're able to give back to organizations that work every day to improve the quality of life in our region. Recipients of this year's donations were Lothlorien Riding Center, Aurora Adult Care, ITAC, It Takes a Community, East Aurora Little Loop Football and Cheerleading, the Classic Rink, and Hawk Creek Wildlife Center. According to festival organizers, the donations reflect the event's mission of using music to strengthen the community while supporting organizations that serve local residents. Each organization provides a distinct community service. Lothlorien Riding Center often offers therapeutic horseback riding and equine assisted services for individuals with disabilities. Aurora Adult Care provides programs and support for older adults and their families. ITAC works to prevent youth substance use through education, prevention initiatives, and community engagement. East Aurora Little Loop Football and Cheerleading offers opportunities for young athletes to develop teamwork, confidence, and leadership skills. The Classic Rink serves as a year-round recreation and youth programming facility, while Hawk Creek Wildlife Center provides wildlife education and cares for non-releasable birds of prey and other wildlife. Festival organizers also thank the event's sponsors, volunteers, musicians, vendors, and attendees for helping make both the festival and its charitable contributions possible. Planning is already underway for next year's Heart of Music Festival, which organizers say will continue its mission of celebrating music while supporting organizations that strengthen the East Aurora community. Additional information about the festival is available at heartofmusicfestival.com. Okay, next we have the Aurora Police Report. Multiple DWI charges levied. A 55-year-old male from East Aurora was arrested for DWI following a traffic stop that occurred on Oakwood Avenue at 9 p.m. Friday, July 31st. According to the report, a vehicle was observed at the intersection of Riley and Main Streets with its right turn signal on. The vehicle proceeded to travel southbound onto Elm Street, failing to turn right and keeping the signal activated until reaching Oakwood Avenue. The vehicle proceeded to activate his left signal, turning left onto Oakwood Avenue, where a traffic stop was initiated. The subject was identified by his driver's license. The report said that the odor of alcohol was detected while corresponding with the driver. The subject stated he was traveling home from a bar on Riley Street. The report says the driver had glassy eyes, impaired motor coordination, and impaired speech. He stated he only consumed one alcoholic beverage. After failing standard field sobriety tests, the subject was placed under arrest and taken to the station for processing. A vehicle inventory was conducted, and the vehicle was towed from the scene with a 12-hour hold placed on it. The subject was breathalyzed with a blood alcohol content of 0.11. He was also charged with operating a motor vehicle within 0.08 of 1% or more alcohol in the blood. The subject was given a courtesy ride to his home. In an unrelated incident, a 41-year-old male from East Aurora was charged with aggravated DWI following a traffic stop that occurred at 11:30 p.m. Saturday, August 1st. According to the report, the vehicle was traveling west on Main Street with a passenger side headlight out. The vehicle made a left onto Payne Street, then another left onto Oakwood Avenue. A traffic stop was performed. The report said that the odor of alcohol was detected while corresponding with the driver. The subject was asked how many beverages he had consumed, to which he stated 2. The subject failed standard field sobriety tests and was placed under arrest and taken to the station for processing. A vehicle inventory was conducted, and the vehicle was towed from the scene with a 12-hour hold placed on it. The subject was breathalyzed with a blood alcohol content of 0.18. He was also charged with operating a motor vehicle within 0.08 of 1% or more alcohol in the blood, improper right turn at an intersection, unsafe turn, and inadequate headlight equipment. The subject was given a courtesy ride to his residence. In a further unrelated incident, a 28-year-old female from East Aurora was charged with aggravated driving while intoxicated following a traffic stop on Payne Street at 1:30 a.m. Sunday, August 2nd. According to the report, a vehicle was observed making a right-hand turn from Riley Street onto Main Street when it failed to keep right by crossing over the yellow center line on Main Street. The vehicle made a left turn onto Payne Street, where it left the roadway and began to travel onto the sidewalk and struck a no parking sign. The vehicle continued to travel southbound, where it struck a utility pole with its front bumper. A traffic stop was initiated. The subject was contacted first to evaluate for injuries. The subject stated she was uninjured. The subject was identified from her driver's license and stated she was coming from a bar on Main Street. The report said the odor of alcohol was detected while corresponding with the driver, and that she stated she had 2 alcoholic drinks. The subject failed standard field sobriety tests. Reportedly, due to her level of impairment, she was exhibiting extreme lack of balance control, so one test was stopped for her safety. The subject was placed under arrest and transported to the station for processing. A vehicle inventory was conducted, and the vehicle was towed from the scene with a 12-hour hold placed on it. The subject was breathalyzed with a blood alcohol content of 0.26. She was also charged with operating a motor vehicle within 0.08 of 1% or more alcohol in the blood, failure to keep right, moving from a lane unsafely, and driving across a sidewalk. The subject was released to a 28-year-old female from Depew. Hit and run. A property damage accident with a vehicle leaving the scene was reported on Church Street on Saturday, July 25th. According to the report, the 33-year-old complainant stated that she parked her vehicle at 11:30 a.m. and returned at approximately 12:45 p.m. The vehicle was observed to suffer damage to the driver's side door and the rear door, as well as the driver's side mirror. The complainant stated she spoke with a nearby homeowner who stated they heard the incident but did not see any people or vehicles in the area. The area was canvassed for surveillance footage of the incident with negative results. Criminal mischief. A report of criminal mischief was made by an Erie County Water Authority worker at the Transit Road Water Tower on Thursday, July 30th. According to the report, the complainant stated when he arrived at work he observed the barbed wire fence around the water tower was cut. It appears that an unknown subject used wire cutters to cut the barbed wire fence to gain access to the private property. The complainant stated he believes it happened the night prior. The complainant advised that he will check the security cameras and follow up. There was no further damage found on the property. EMS. A report of a fall with a head injury was made at the community pool at 10 a.m. Friday, July 31st. According to the report, upon arrival, a 79-year-old female from Ransomville was observed to be on the ground conscious, alert, and bleeding from the head. The patient was being tended to by an East Aurora Fire Department EMT and lifeguards. The patient was situated at the bottom of two concrete steps which led from the kiddie pool area toward the main area. The patient's husband stated while walking down the steps she tripped. No cracks or obstacles were observed that could have caused her to trip. The witness also stated there were no obstacles in the way at the time of the fall. The patient was transported to a local hospital by ambulance. Cars keyed. A report of possible criminal mischief involving a parked vehicle was made by a 34-year-old female from North Java at 11 a.m. Saturday, August 1st. According to the report, the complainant stated that she parked her vehicle in a Pine Street parking lot at 10 a.m. on July 17th. At 4 p.m. the same day, the complainant stated she returned to the vehicle and observed several scratches on the passenger side door that were not there previously. The complainant stated her co-worker's vehicle was parked behind hers and had similar scratches but in different locations. The complainant says she does not know who caused the damage, but there have been some issues with some of the tenants in the building over parking spaces. There is no video surveillance of the incident, but the complainant's husband would be installing additional surveillance on that day. The complainant's vehicle was observed to have several 2 to 3 inch scratches. The case is closed pending further information. In a possible related incident that occurred between July 26th and July 30th, a 40-year-old male from Buffalo believes that someone keyed his car while in the same parking lot. The scratch is approximately 5 to 6 inches in length, and the complainant stated he does not know who would be motivated to key his vehicle, but other vehicles had also been keyed in the lot. There is no video surveillance of the incident. Injury accident. A 2-car property damage accident with injuries was reported at 1:30 p.m. Saturday, August 1st. According to the report, upon arrival, a vehicle was observed to be parked in a wooded area southwest of a Gray Street restaurant. The vehicle was observed to have damage to the passenger side door and rear door area. A second vehicle was parked in the parking lot of the restaurant with damage to the front bumper and driver's side wheel area. The driver, a 17-year-old female, was sitting in the driver's seat crying and stating she was sorry and she had hit the gas instead of the brake. The 53-year-old male passenger of the vehicle from Buffalo stated the driver has a learner's permit and was an inexperienced driver. He also confirmed the driver's version of the events, stating that the vehicle struck the parked vehicle, went over the curb onto the grass, striking a 29-year-old female from Orchard Park, and then stopped in the wooded area. The victim stated she was standing in the grass talking to a 69-year-old male from Lakeview when she observed the vehicle not stopping. The victim stated the vehicle struck her right side and she fell on the hood of the vehicle, traveling approximately 20 feet on top of the hood of the vehicle. She had an abrasion on her right wrist and complained of pain to her right wrist, ankle, and left hip area. The victim was transported to ECMC and Erie County EMS ambulance. The driver was charged with operating a motor vehicle without an inspection certificate, moving from a lane unsafely, and speed not reasonable and prudent. The victim contacted the station to advise she would be spending the night at the hospital for evaluation and possible internal injuries. Suspicious incident. A delayed report of juveniles possibly breaking into the football field press box at the East Aurora High School was made at 9:30 p.m. Saturday, August 1st. According to the report, one of the roll-down service windows for the football field concession stand was observed to be open, and the lights inside the building were on. No one was located inside, nor were there any signs of damage observed to the building or its contents. A check of the football field press box found that a door on the north side of the building was unlocked, along with several of the sliding windows on the east side of the building overlooking the bleachers. There was no one and no damage observed inside the press box. Contact was made with the complainant, a 56-year-old male from East Aurora, who stated that earlier in the evening he had gone for a walk on the high school grounds and observed a group of juveniles playing soccer on the football field. As he walked past the field, he briefly looked up at the press box and observed one of the sliding windows open. He stated he saw what appeared to be an individual inside of the press box, but could not give a description. The complainant continued his walk and lost sight of the press box for a time. On his way back to the parking lot, the window was observed to be closed, and the group of juveniles playing soccer were sitting on the bleachers. The complainant was not initially going to report the incident, but later became concerned that something may have been damaged, which accounted for the delay in reporting. No surveillance footage was observed on either building. A key holder responding to the scene stated that there had been an event at the field earlier in the day and organizers must have forgotten to lock up when they left. No missing property or damage was observed, and the buildings were secured by the key holder. Car into garage. A call of a vehicle driven into a house with possible injuries was reported at 9:15 a.m. Sunday, August 2nd. According to the report, an 81-year-old male driver from East Aurora was located next to the vehicle, which was partially inside the garage. The male was observed to have multiple skin tears on his arm and was complaining of pain to his ribs. The driver stated he pulled into his driveway and forgot to put the vehicle in park. When he got out of the vehicle, it began to roll westbound down the driveway, striking the garage door. The driver stated he tried to get back in the vehicle, but got pinned between the driver's side door and the garage, causing the injuries. The 78-year-old female passenger was in the passenger seat during the incident and was uninjured. The East Aurora Fire Department backed the vehicle out of the garage and parked it in the driveway. The vehicle had damage to the driver's side door area, hood, and windshield. The garage door was also damaged. An ambulance transported the driver to ECMC. And you're listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Next is the Erie County Sheriff's Report. DWI charges in Holland. Erie County Sheriff's deputies responded on July 29th after a vehicle operating southbound and northbound lane at North Main Street at Meadow Lane in Holland caused patrol to swerve to the vehicle to avoid a collision. The vehicle was pulled over. After roadside testing, the operator, a 39-year-old Holland man, was charged with DWI. In other area calls handled by the Erie County Sheriff's deputies out of the Clarence and Elma Stubbs Station. July 25th, a black Chevy Impala was operating erratically all over the roadway at Olean and Partridge Roads in Holland. The vehicle's operator was located and questioned, stating the erratic operation was caused by a bee in the vehicle. July 26, patrol services were provided at the Alden Auto Show in Alden Town Park on West Main Street. July 27th, no incidents were reported on this date. July 28th, a resident of Alma reported that his vehicle was keyed at Transit Road. He was provided with documentation for his insurance claim. A resident of Stoll and Bolus Roads requested speed enforcement on Stoll between Clinton and Bolus Roads. A pickup truck struck 2 telephone poles and a tree after leaving Porterville Road in Marilla. Wires were brought down onto the road. NYSEG was notified and the road was shut down for approximately 6 hours while work was done to remove the hazard. The operator left the scene and went home. He was returned to the scene by his father and was issued traffic tickets. The operator of the vehicle was ticketed for failure to yield at an intersection at Bolus and Two Rod Roads after a 2-vehicle crash. July 29th, a vehicle making a left-hand turn from Slade Drive onto Broadway in Alden and a vehicle traveling straight across Broadway onto Slade Drive collided. Alden Fire transported the driver of the second vehicle to a local hospital for treatment of head and neck pain. A vehicle traveling westbound on Big Tree Road in Wales slowed for an animal that entered the roadway and was rear-ended by the vehicle behind it. Both vehicles involved were damaged, but drivable. July 30th, a resident of Pheasant View Drive in Elma reported that an unknown individual went through his unlocked vehicle overnight. It is unclear whether anything was missing. July 31st, a vehicle attempting to turn from Wendy Road onto Walden Avenue in Alden struck a second vehicle traveling westbound on Walden. Both vehicles were damaged, and a passenger in the second vehicle was transported to a local hospital for treatment of minor back pain. After a two-vehicle crash at Genesee Street at Crittenden Road in Alden, 2 victims were transported to ECMC, and an additional victim was transported to Children's Hospital for treatment. The operator of one vehicle was ticketed for failing to yield the right of way while turning left. And next we have live music at Alden Farmers Market and car cruise. Rockabilly Steve and BR3 will perform at the Alden Farmers Market and Car Cruise on Monday, August 10th at Alden Park. Oh, that's tonight. The trio is scheduled to perform from 5 to 7 p.m. during the weekly market, which is open from 4 to 7:30 p.m. through late September. Rockabilly Steve and BR3 features 2 guitars and an upright bass for performing a mix of Americana, blues, roots, music, and original songs. The group has been a popular attraction at the previous Alden Farmers Market performances. The performance is sponsored by Blackwater Tavern and Tap, an Alden business named after the village's late 1800s history as a destination for its black mineral water springs. In addition to live music, visitors can browse vendors offering seasonal produce, baked goods, meats, and specialty products, while viewing classic vehicles participating in the weekly car cruise. The Alden Chamber of Commerce, which hosts the farmer market and car cruise, will offer grilled hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken, and sausages, along with cold beverages, at its concession stand near the Senior Center. Weekly entertainment continues throughout the season, alternating between live bands and DJs. Additional information about the farmers market, car cruise, and other chamber events is available at www.aldenny.org. Okay, next, Wyoming County Fair returns August 15th through 22nd. The Wyoming County Fair will return to Pike August 15th through 22nd, offering 8 days of agricultural exhibits, entertainment, competitions, and family activities. This year's fair, themed Stars, Stripes, and Summer Nights, celebrates America's 250th anniversary while highlighting Wyoming County's agricultural heritage. Visitors can explore exhibit buildings featuring local crafts, photography, quilts, baked goods, maple products, flowers, vegetables, and artwork created by county residents. Livestock barns will showcase dairy and beef cattle, horses, sheep, goats, swine, rabbits, and poultry. The fair's schedule includes tractor pulls, horse pulls, parades, the Fair Queen Talent Show, antique tractor displays, a car show, draft horse demonstrations, and talent competitions. The Midway will open daily at noon with carnival rides and games. Food vendors throughout the grounds will offer traditional fair favorites, including the fair's signature beef on weck and home-cooked meals served in the green commercial building. Visitors can also tour the historic Griffith House, where antique displays and open hearth cooking demonstrations highlight the county's history. Admission to the fairgrounds is free. Parking passes purchased through August 14th cost $30 and are available at participating local banks and fairgrounds. After August 14th, parking will be $10 per vehicle per day. The Wyoming County Fair is one of those authentic experiences that captures the heart of our community, said Eric Sucks, Director of Tourism and Marketing for the Wyoming County Chamber and Tourism. Whether you're cheering on exhibitors in the show ring, enjoying live entertainment, introducing kids to farm animals, or simply sharing a favorite fair meal with family and friends, the fair reminds us why Wyoming County is such a special place to visit during the summer. Additional information about fair events and activities is available through the Wyoming County Fair Association at www.wyomingcounty-fair.org. Okay, next we have Aurora Library seeks recipes for community cookbook. The Aurora Town Public Library is inviting local residents to share family recipes, cultural favorites, and everyday meals for a new community cookbook celebrating the people and traditions of the community. The cookbook project is open to all patrons. Recipes can reflect family traditions, comforting memories, or practical dishes that home cooks rely on. By submitting a recipe, participants give the library permission to edit it for clarity before publication. Recipes may be submitted online at bit.ly/4vhlymp through January 19, 2027. Library Director Paula Osberger said the idea grew from popularity of the library's cooking club. Our patrons enjoy attending the cooking club we have been offering at the library for almost a year. Osberger said, at these programs, attendees learn new skills, techniques, and recipes from the instructor. Observing this shared interest around food, the library wanted to create an opportunity for home cooks to share their own recipes. Osberger said the project is intended to bring the community together by showcasing recipes from a variety of families, traditions, and cultures unique to the area. This project will bring together our community by inviting friends and neighbors to sit at our tables, tasting recipes from different families, traditions, and cultures that are uniquely East Auroran, she said. Once recipes have been collected and organized, the library plans to create copies of the cookbook that patrons will be able to borrow, with publication anticipated in 2027. As part of its ongoing cooking programming, the library will also host a free fresh salsa workshop at 6 p.m. Tuesday, September 15th. Participants will learn how to make fresh salsa, sample the finished product, and receive tips for recreating the recipe at home. Ingredients and supplies will be provided. For more information about the Community Cookbook Project, call the Aurora Town Public Library at 716-652-4440. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Near Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, next we have Youth Archery and Sportsman's Camp graduates 28 young outdoor enthusiasts. The 32nd Annual Region 9 Youth Archery and Sportsman Camp concluded another successful year, graduating 28 young outdoor enthusiasts after a week of hands-on instruction in hunting, conservation, and outdoor skills. The camp took place at the Alma Conservation Club in Alma, and it was operated by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC. The camp welcomed 30 registered participants this year. Although 2 campers were unable to complete the program, 28 earned both New York State Hunter Education and Bow Hunter Education certifications while participating in a comprehensive curriculum designed to prepare the next generation of ethical hunters and conservationists. Campers received instruction in sportsman ethics, wildlife conservation, deer biology, field dressing and butchering, tree stand safety, survivor skills, compass and navigation, first aid, environmental conservation, law enforcement, game identification and tracking, hunting tactics, firearm safety, archery, muzzle loader and trap shooting, fishing, and other outdoor skills through classroom and hands-on learning experiences. The camp also marked a milestone in its leadership development program. Several former campers who previously served as youth counselors officially transitioned into roles as junior DEC instructors, creating a pathway for graduates to return as mentors and educators. Organizers said the new leadership roles help ensure the program's long-term sustainability while preserving traditions of ethical hunting, conservation, and outdoor stewardship. The annual camp relies heavily on volunteers, instructors, and community partners. Organizers estimate the program costs more than $10,000 each year to operate, but donations and sponsorship allow all instruction, meals, equipment, and educational materials to be provided free of charge to participants. The Alma Conservation Club serves as the camp's primary sponsor and host. Organizers credited the club with preserving the program after stepping in to support it in 2021, when the future of the camp was uncertain. For more than 30 years, the Region 9 Youth Archery and Sportsman Camp has provided youth with opportunities to develop outdoor skills while emphasizing safety, ethics, and conservation. Organizers said they are already planning for the 33rd annual camp and look forward to welcoming a new group of participants next year. And next we have Dare to Repair Cafe returns to East Aurora. Don't ditch it, fix it. This August, the Dare to Repair team is returning to East Aurora. The Town of Aurora's Climate Smart Community Task Force, in partnership with ACES and the East Aurora Rotary Club, is bringing the Buffalo Tool Library's mobile repair team of volunteer fixers to the Aurora Senior Center for more fixin' fun from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. August 27th. Refreshments and pizza will be served. Dare to Repair cafes are pop-up community events where individuals can bring broken items and have a team of volunteers fix them for free. Current repair categories include small appliances, lamps, electronics, bicycles, clothing, and textiles. Please no gas-powered items, cell phones, or TVs. Repair cafes aren't just about fixing things, they're teaching events where residents observe and learn through their repair technician. Although walk-ins are welcome, registration is encouraged so the repair team has a better idea of what repair skills will be needed. New this year, Re-Bicycle, the EA Rotary, will have their bike donation truck on site in the municipal parking lot behind the senior center. Residents can recycle their used bicycles, bike equipment, trailers, helmets, etc. Donations will be given to Go Bike Buffalo for repair and distribution to those in need. Or repair that bicycle for your own reuse. Go Bike Buffalo will be fixing bikes on site. Last year's very successful event saw 34 items successfully repaired, 338 pounds of waste diverted from the landfill, $4,780 saved in replacement cost value, and 2,375 pounds of carbon offset. Participants may register at the toollibrary.org/dare-to-repair or by scanning the QR code. And finally, the Hull Family Home Lecture Series continues with 3 programs. 3 presentations remain in Living History Lecture Series at the Hull Family Home and Farmstead, offering participants opportunities to explore Western New York history, early American life, and local cemeteries. The series continues on August 16th with historical interpreter Dennis Upton portraying Joseph Ellicott, the surveyor who mapped much of the Holland Land Company property in Western New York during the late 1700s and early 1800s. The presentation will examine Ellicott's life and legacy, including the many local landmarks and communities that bear his name. On September 23rd, educator and beekeeper John Armstrong will present Beekeeping in 1820, exploring how early settlers relied on bees for honey, beeswax, and crop pollination. The program will compare historical beekeeping practices with modern techniques. The final lecture will be held October 18th when Erie County historian Douglas Kohler presents A History into Headstones, a look at cemeteries across Erie County. Kohler will discuss the symbolism found on historic headstones and monuments, explaining how cemetery markers reveal changing traditions and beliefs over time. All lectures are held from 1 to 2 p.m. at the Hull Family Home and Farmstead, 5962 Genesee Street, Lancaster. Admission is $10 per person. Seating is limited and reservations are requested by calling 716-681-5494. And you've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the August 6, 2026 issue of the East Aurora Advertiser. We read from the East Aurora Advertiser every Saturday at 10 a.m. Your reader has been Karen. Thank you for listening, and hope you have a good day and take good care of yourself. Okay, bye-bye.
Coming up next on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have a reading of the Niagara Gazette. At noon, we have the Dunkirk Observer. And at 1 o'clock, we have some of our Northtown Bees, including Amherst, Clarence, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, and Depew. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello. This is Rick Lawrence, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from current issues of the Niagara Gazette on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Here from the August 7th edition, as we work our way towards the present date, here's a headline, Live in...
The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability,